No, there's lots of training and knowing exactly what's going to happen.
Okay. Sorry, okay, now you can tell I'm a novice here, can't you, to the genre? Yeah, Carl's just looking at me as if, oh dear, she has just lost the plot.
No, she hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Oh, Johnny's just said no, Sasha. That's oh, he said a naughty word. I can't say it. Well, actually, it's more come out as really weird sort of things. But then that's what can happen in chat rooms. We've got somebody called Mr. Gav who's come into the chat room. I believe Carl knows him.
Yeah. I've done a collaboration track, which Mr. Gav, can you get that collaboration track done? We're called Din with Noise.
Ah, he's wondering whether you're going to play any more of that.
I can't play any Dim with Noise because you've got the stuff, Mr. Gav. Mr. Gav. We're Dolphin Noir Potato track out.
Exactly, there you go. And I mean, you can see the chat room already is going crazy for you, Carl, because we love you.
It's like I brought my minions around with a video. My evil YouTube minions.
Oh, now you see, he's already taking the world over as we speak. Yeah, Mr. Gav says it's it's coming. No, I'm not so sure about that, Carl.
He's a go-getter. He's a go-getter and a legend in the High Wycombe metal scene.
Ah, High Wycombe metal. My gosh. So obviously not a guy to be messed with at the moment.
Oh, no, don't mess with him. His beard will get you.
Fair enough. Humadras wants to know if you've got any gigs or festivals lined up this year, Carl.
Hello, Humadras. I was waving, doing a radio wave to you there, which is pretty like a normal wave, but you can't see it, Humadras. I've got I got a gig on the 16th of February, which is the first gig of the year with Neil by Nose, and I'm hoping to get to Supernormal. Fingers crossed. I'm working at Glastonbury, and I might be going to a festival called The Wilderness because a friend of mine is getting married, and he was talking about having a rough thing after his getting married, getting some friends together and all going to the Wilderness Festival together because it's supposed to be a very lovely festival for middle-aged people.
Oh, you're not middle-aged, Carl, surely.
Oh, you only know at the end if you're when you're middle-aged.
He's cracking already. And I'm not talking about age cracking here at all. No, seriously. Now, electronic music, I mean, obviously it's a huge part of your life. Who are your main influences?
Well, I think probably my earliest influence for electronic music was it's an album called Wild Bull by Morton Subotnick. And my dad had the record, and he could put it on, and within 3 bars of the first track, I'd be running away, hiding, and crying because it was really scary. It was a combination of the album cover was kind of quite scary, had this sort of like Native American kind of picture with a bull skull in a contorted position, and the music is quite it's difficult to say. I've listened to it recently, and it's not as uncompromising as some electronic music, but for a 4-year-old mind, it throws up really quite dark imagery.
How dark imagery are we talking?
Well, it's very primal, kind of primal. There's there's the thing that lurks in your cupboard kind of sounds there, and it's well worth checking out if you've got a spare 45 minutes. I know it's on YouTube. Check out Morton Subotnick's Wild Bull.
Okay, well, I'm sure we'll put all these links up on the site later as well. Now, the tracks that we've been listening to, because obviously you sent me a whole load of fantastic stuff.
Oh, that's not as many as it. When I sat down to work out, I had a playlist of 180 tunes.
180.
Yeah, so I sort of like had to thin it down. So first of all, I sort of went through and thought, what's unlistenable? What will people really not enjoy? So that cut it down a bit. Then I thought, oh right, what's kind of radio unfriendly for swearing and other naughtiness. That cut it down a bit more. And then I was aiming to get one CD of about 20 tracks. I think it's 25 tracks, or no, 23.
Yeah, 23 tracks you sent me in the end.
Spooky 23. That's all I want to say.
Spooky 23. To find out more, check out the blog later. But yeah, so actually, again, more people are coming into the chat room. So we got Smoosh Plums who's in the chat room. We got obviously got Mr. Frizz. We got Mr. Gav, Hummadraz. We got someone called the Venerable One who's joined us in the chat room as well. Hello, Venerable One. Obviously we've got Baz from the from our Alien show on Tuesdays. So hi Baz, thank you very much for joining us. And of course, as I say, we've got all the usual kind of people within the chat room as well. But anyway, what I am going to say is that you did, when you sent me all these tracks, and Carla's just got wonderfully distracted on FB again. But see, this is the thing with technology. You always get really distracted and carried away, don't you?
It's my popcorn mind. It's gone on somewhere else.
Yes. Whoops. Here we go. Now, the thing is, with all the tracks that you sent me, there are obviously loads and loads of different styles of electronica and alternative sort of music. Now, the last track that I played was quite an interesting one. The Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, The Hunting Tigers Out in India. I mean, that's quite a very strange track, really, for an experimental / electronica thing, isn't it?
No, well, I think the Bonzo Dog Band were a big influence for me on the Las Vegas Mermaids. They made great music and funny music, and they told stories and created fantastic characters. And that's they were just sufficiently weird. They also wrote some fantastic song. There's a couple of great songs. There's one, the band, I think it's called, which is all about being in a band and how like pubs treat you when you turn up to do a gig. That's really well written. It's funny, but it's also so truthful. And there's one, Then Got Busted, which is all about getting arrested for drugs. And that again it's kind of, it's almost, it's a little bit poignant, really, as well, because it's really interesting. Just that they wrote really good songs and they made them funny as well.
Okay, so obviously, when it's very experimentational in terms of the writing, and you say there's a lot of poignant stuff that comes out of it. When it comes to a lot of different tracks that are trying to get messages across, like drug abuse or safety or anything like that. I mean, do you think that there's ever a right way of getting the message across in this particular type of genre?
I don't think there is any right way of telling anyone. It's well, there might be a right way of listening.
A right way of listening. So again, it's people's interpretation, I guess.
Yeah, because you can't second guess what someone else is going to think because you're not someone else. You can never know what someone else is going to think about something. So do what you do.
Fantastic. Now you were telling me just before we came back on air that about that little track. There's a very strange connection with quite an established chap hop person. A certain
with the next track.
With the next track, yes, because there's a very special link, isn't there, between that last track and this next one that's coming
I
up.
haven't played it yet.
Oh no! Oh, haven't I played it yet?
No,
I haven't even played it. Oh my gosh, I'm getting ahead of myself.
yes,
You see, this is a
So-
terrible thing. Here we go. We should
Well,
explain, shouldn't we?
We've got if you've looked at the internet, if you've looked at YouTube, and there's a good chance you may have heard of Professor Elemental.
Oh yes, Professor Elemental, one of the best people in the world where chap hop is concerned.
Oh yes, he stormed into the internet with a cup of brown joy, a rap about tea, and then he stirred up a bit of controversy by releasing a diss track called "Fighting Trousers" to the other chap hop rapper Mr. B. They've had battles, and I've known well, it's bizarre. Both Mr. B and Professor Elemental, I've known them. Well, not known. No, I've not. Years ago, I did a fanzine, and I did an interview with a band that Mr. B was in. I don't want to say any more about which band it was.
Yeah.
Collapse Lung.
Ooh, now, before you get onto Collapsed Lung, Jack Chandler wants to know what chap hop is, please.
Chap hop. Chap hop is it's like hip hop, but for chaps rather than for thuggish urban youth.
Oh, so quite a sophisticated version, I gather.
Well, it's Queensberry's rules, so it doesn't have to be sophisticated.
And of course, you've had the wonderful honour and opportunity of actually interviewing the wonderful Professor Elemental, haven't you?
Oh yes, twice I've interviewed. Well, I've been involved.
Lucky
in
bastard.
interviews. Yeah, yes. Well, you know, I know him, and that helps.
I think that always kind of helps
Yeah.
if you know somebody.
Yeah, it's not who you know. It is who you know.
Oh, it is. Oh, well, I have to remember that for next time. No, but seriously, there is a special connection, isn't there, with this next track coming up?
Yes. Which one are you playing? Dinner with Ted?
Dinner with Ted's coming up, yes.
Yes. It's one of his earlier tracks, and because a lot of people have heard his more recent stuff. He's got a new album out at the moment called The Father of Invention. This is from way back years ago when he was still MC Elemental.
MC Elemental. Well, to find out more, let's check it out with Professor Elemental and Dinner with Ted. Enjoy. Now, because things are getting really interesting, we're going to go on slightly longer. It's coming up for 9 o'clock. I can't believe it's rushed again. I know. But I think because, again, things are getting interesting in the chat room as well as general other things, we're going to continue for a little bit longer. And we're going to wrap up at 10 o'clock if things get even more interesting. So let's take it away, Professor Elemental, and let's see where it goes.
It's ever so kind of you to invite me out for lunch, Bob. I haven't been out for dinner for a long time.
Not a problem, not a
Is this
problem.
restaurant any good?
Oh, it's marvellous. They've got the best beef I've ever tasted.
Oh,
Come on, Ted.
Bob arrived late for his meeting with Ted in a neat little restaurant, discreet, and he said
It's the best place for beef. I booked 3 weeks ahead.
so he led him by map to the east and then left. The meat was delicious, so sweet was the bread. The two met each week as a treat, but instead of more customers, weekly less people were left. And Bob meant to ask, but was easing and fed, so didn't connect like a needle and thread. But one day left waiting, seeking out Ted. He hated to wait, took seating ahead. He ordered some rare steak, meat by the leg, and each seat was empty. He realized and said,
Well, this seems
but
bizarre.
received beef and eggs, and then he saw scars on his pieces of leg that he knew Ted had got while skiing, so fled, but was caught by the maitre d' sneakily tread, who said, please don't leave, cause we're keeping the rest of edible Ted, who's now legally dead. Until tea time, I mean that you must meet the chef, cause he needs some sweet, no ingredients left. So they trained all Bob's juices and fiendishly bled, and kept him awake till they'd eaten his flesh. But at least he now knew why the meat was the best.